Guys, welcome back once again to part two of Deepak Shukla interviews Craig Campbell on the Craig Campbell Show. Craig, I had a really cracking time with you last week when we got together and spoke about your journey with transitioning from agency life into the world of speaking and talking a little bit about the affiliate side and just asking you, I guess, some questions about your journey and what you've been through and why you left the agency space behind. I guess that, look, the timing seems really pertinent. What with the state of the world, first of all, I want to know, what have you been hearing kind of from your network about the coronavirus and how it's impacting people in the SEO space? It seems to be the most obvious question I need to ask.
I mean, just now, I've had an email where the European Search Awards, which is where I was going to be a judge, that's been postponed. Networking events, conferences are being cancelled. But obviously, that's all good and well, and I totally get that. People need to be safe. But what is really worrying is the amount of people I hear having to lay off staff. And losing clients and stuff, because clients are obviously panicking at this stage and cutting budgets and whatnot. However, there's always a flip side to it. I've got a guy that I know who leases or hires out fitness equipment.
Okay.
And the guy basically phoned me at 2 minutes past 9 this morning and said, Craig, put a message on my website. Every time someone fills out a form that we cannot service them for 14 to 21 days, we are literally all out of stock. So his business has went through the fucking roof. Because everyone's clambering to get, a treadmill or whatever. Probably guys like you who are fitness freaks, not so much guys like me, but
different kind of fitness.
But yeah, you are that type of guy. So he's done really well. But as I say, sadly, a lot of people are having to lay off staff and stuff like that, and
this is like a problem with the agency model in general, right? Because we were speaking about it like just last week, and I'll be open and say, guys, like my business has been decimated, right? I've lost I think coming up to the 7th client, which obviously speaks to the vulnerabilities of the businesses that I take on board, right? Weak businesses in moments like this, I say weak businesses, there's fucking huge businesses that are failing at the moment. The whole travel industry is just not flying anymore. So I guess the question that I've got underneath this is, what is your take then? You're an agency owner, land. You've just got absolutely murdered because you've got like multiple clients in, let's say, the travel space or the retail space, and at the very least, clients are pausing or not spending more, or even you're like, and this really applies to any agency in general, right? Because there's like my cousin works at some of the bigger agencies like Wavemaker and Media Edge, and he's like, yeah, all of the clients like Orange, and he's like, they're stopping all media spend because they're just waiting until this stuff passes. What does, in your opinion, the savvy entrepreneur do who has a SEO or marketing skill set in an environment like this, where they're like, you know what, my clients just got like fell out of the sky. What do I do now?
I mean, you're going to have to very quickly pivot towards something else that can make you money. It's not going to be happening overnight, but there's always going to be a weakness. There's always going to be vulnerable opportunities arise when a situation like that comes up as well. Of course, people are going to stop media spend. That doesn't mean the world stops buying online. For example, my Amazon websites, the sales have went through the roof because people are obviously at home and checking shit out. And I don't know why, but, they're increasing. So there is going to be a demand for online sales of some description. And you very quickly have to turn your hand to doing that. And even for someone like you, you could, you've got assets, you've got skills. I'm pretty sure that somehow you could turn your way into getting some training on the go, or helping out other agencies who are maybe struggling in a consultancy role, or there's a million different opportunities where you could easily pivot towards that, because business doesn't stop. I think this 2 or 3 week lockdown or whatever it may be, people are panicking. stopping their spends and stuff, but they will come back and they will spend again.
I just heard you cough. I've not yet. Corona can't be passed through a web interview. I fucking hope not. Otherwise,
I've had this cough for about 2 years, and I don't even smoke. That's the worst thing about it. But
are you self-isolating at the moment?
No, well, kind of forced into it, but I'm not self-isolating as such. I've had this cough for way longer than the corona's been there. I think it's when I talk, I just get this little tickle, like the back of my throat, like something's near.
It's probably a question you're going to be getting a lot now. People are very paranoid. Well, it's the reason I actually asked that is because I feel that there's a parallel. People are paranoid in business as well, and like, you know, the whole world has collapsed. And there's what's quite reassuring about what you just said is that be rational, be reasonable. Business is still happening. There's a lot of business still happening, but you just need to, you know, get out of your normal seat because the seat's not there anymore.
It's like, you know, I get it. See, for a local business like a roofer or whatever, times are tough, and you know, people are not going to be going out buying roofs just now or anything like that. So their kind of businesses will be impacted. What's the point in having paid search and all of the kind of other marketing going on? What I would say to anyone though is, I would be beating the drum that, you know, just now from an SEO point of view, now is the time to double down and really, you know, put out some good content and everything else that's going to work towards a better future. By all means, don't, you know, do paid ads as much as you probably were because people are not buying as much. But I think you can certainly use this 2 or 3 weeks to double down and, you know, for the likes of me, I'm going to smash out loads more videos, loads more podcasts, you know, loads more blogs, and put that to good use, which is going to then benefit me in the long term. By all means, I might make less money in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So what? You know, it's.
I think everyone's in the same boat fundamentally right now because common sense. I mean, because what's your opinion then on? Because I'm also reading about people saying, you know, reach out to clients or try a different approach, etc. And I'm thinking that I don't know whether it makes sense to try a completely different initiative right now in this period, or like, what's your take on that? Because that's like some of the Facebook chatter that I've been seeing as well.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't do that. If a client has to, you know, strip back budgets because they're panicking or shitting themselves, you turning up and saying, "Hey guys, I've got some email marketing shit going on," and, you know, trying to force that down their throat, you're going to kill the client off forever. You know, the chances are they're going to say, you know, do you ever stop? Like, just stop just now. We're in panic mode. Chill the fuck out for a few weeks and, you know, do that. So I wouldn't be over, you know, going in and trying a different tact as such. I think, you know, remain. I've never been one for, you know, that hard sales pitch.
A hard sell.
And I think it would irritate people if Deepak says, right, paid ads is gone, but yeah, come and buy this. People are going to see, Deepak, you are nothing but a pain in the fucking ass. It's off, and, you know, potentially lose that client. Whereas you might lose their money for 2 or 3 weeks just now, and then they'll come back to you and say, Deepak, you know, we're out of this coronavirus situation. Let's ramp the spend up again. Everything's good. But also, for anyone who doesn't really watch what the government and everything else are saying, there's going to be grants and stuff like that coming out as well, and hopefully be able to help small businesses survive or be able to take a hit. Just now, there's going to be like 10. I think I've heard there's 10 grand for very small businesses and up to 25 grand for people who have a rateable value of under 50 grand. So there's going to be grants there available, which would hopefully tide you over and make sure that you don't have to hit the wall. And what I would be saying to people is double down on your agency website. If you've got staff, see what grants are available and utilize that 2 or 3 week time and make your website the best it can be, because
that seems to be that really seems to be the sensible advice. And I just wonder, like, because underneath that there's that whole thing that a lot of people, and this is not even about agencies, people in general, like, you sound in many respects a lot more like a long-term thinker now as to, you know, the approach that you're taking. And certainly, you know, I look at kind of the stuff you're doing with the speaking, and what was quite interesting was that you weren't looking at it from a direct response perspective. You're like, I'm not going to, host at a particular event, or I'm not getting onto a podcast to make money directly from that business. It feels like there's a lot more about the Craig Campbell brand that you're trying to build right now. Could you? I'm just curious, like why? Like why not? Why not just focus on stuff that kind of brings in like cash immediately? What's your thinking on all of that? Because you could, right? You could, right?
Listen, don't get me wrong. I have sold courses. I've done this, I've done that, and I can bring in cash relatively quickly. But I think it's a combination of, I'm not strapped for cash as such, so I don't need to do that. Two, I think long term, people respect you more if you're not, I'm trying to give something back as well. So when I speak, I'm trying to offer value to people as well. And if they want to use me and I can help them in some way, by all means. If they don't, that's also good. What really pisses me off is the amount of bullshit that's out there in this industry. And I think if I can try and stop someone from wasting, 3-4 years of their time going round in circles doing the same shit that I've done, where I could maybe advise you slightly to kind of avoid those pitfalls. Then
what are the top three kind of bullshit things you see at the moment that kind of frustrate you, without being specific about anything? I
mean, it's the whole SEO industry in general. Talking about we're white hat, and there's no such fucking thing as white hat. People are manipulating shit day in, day out, and regardless of what you say, you're not white hat. I hate not agents. I don't hate agencies in general.
That's more of a sales thing, isn't it? Really, the whole white hat thing. It feels like,
But what I hate is hearing guys talk who say, "I would never do this," and then fine well they're doing that anyway, because they bloody buy links and they do that from different vendors that I'm friends with, and things like that. Just saying one thing and doing another is just really bloody annoying.
What's interesting about what you said is the advice that what you're doing today with building your brand. Would you advise that for someone who's just starting out, or would you not? Are you now coming from a space where, you know what, Deepak, I'm comfortable enough that the coronavirus, of course, has made it quieter for everybody, including myself, but building a brand comes at a time when you can take care of cash flow? Because one of the things that you see with a lot of guys just starting out is that they have a non-existent brand, and then they struggle with the sales side. And then I think that, well, if you've got no brand, people are going to look at you and be like, who the hell are, it's a question I commonly get from people that are native Indians. They're like, Deepak, how do I sell? And I'm like, dude, I look you up and I don't know way to distinguish you from being another spammer guy, because I'm like, I don't know. So what's your kind of advice with, if you're just starting out and growing your agency? What do you focus on?
I mean, for me,
and this applies to websites, I think, in a way as well. It's not just, when I say brand, I mean, the affiliate site that we were discussing. Like, what's the core focus in your view? Brand search or personal search or something, or like money?
It's got to be a mixture of both. Obviously, when you're starting out, you have to earn money to be able to then build a brand. When I started out, it was all about the money, how many clients I could get. And so on. I think the brand thing always comes further down the line. And if you look at anyone, we've all, even yourself, you were a nobody, and now you're getting, a bit of exposure on webinars and everything else. And the brand thing comes up, and then people are saying, "Oh, Deepak, I like him. I like the way he talks," or, he's crazy, or, all of these kind of things. Your brand kind of happens as a kind of natural progression, I would say. At the start of anything, do not go out and try and claim to be this big experienced guy, because you've got to go through, all the mistakes I've made. And I'm still way behind in terms of brand compared to some guys. But when you speak, people start to believe in you. They can see, the pain in your eyes that you've, fucked up. I've had a bankrupt agency. I've had this, that, and the next thing. It's not all success stories. And I think, that forms a brand at the end of the day when you start to speak, or you get that natural progression, and then people say, "Do you know what? Craig's been there. He's now an old git, and he's probably someone we want to lean on for a bit of advice."
What I like about your history, and what I want to ask you about actually, is the journey that you've had. You're very, I mean, you're there's this whole history of quite rich experiences behind you, and you spoke just now about that. Deepak, in the beginning, it's got to be a bit of a mixture, I think, and you know what, we've all made mistakes to a degree, and brand comes as a consequence of being open about those mistakes and building it out. Do you think that you spoke of in the last show that we had, and guys, listen back to the last show if you've not yet, the first interview where I talked to Craig about his history, one of the things that you spoke about was suffering from depression and being anxious a lot. Was that in relation to the cash flow, or what was the biggest thing at that time that was, do you think, causing you to struggle?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of everything. I think when you're running an agency, and you'll be able to relate to this, if when you're starting out and you've got no money, or not money, but you say you've got I'm just going to say 10 grand for a round figure. Yeah. Say you've got 10 grand worth of clients coming in, and you've got client budget coming in, and you've got 9,995 overheads, in terms of paying staff and paying for your office and everything else. All it takes is for one client to pull the plug, not pay in time, and your cash flow shot to fucking bits. And we'll all know that clients don't always pay in time. Some pay after 30 days, some 45 days. And, I think my whole thing was I used to work until 4 a.m. From like 8 in the morning till like 4 a.m., trying to build a business, trying to do everything. And, as I said to you, I was a control freak. I couldn't then switch off. So when I was going to my bed, I was waking up, I forgot something. Cash, wasn't always good. You always had people not paying, and you were shitting yourself in terms of being able to pay people. And then you obviously had the catalogue of other problems that come with an agency, managing staff, managing clients, and all that kind of other shit. And if you do that for a prolonged period of time, it does impact you, and I don't care who you are. If you put yourself through the mill, you will suffer from anxiety, depression, whatever it may be. And, part of my problem is when I do something in life, whether it's, playing you at ping pong or anything, I want to crush you to death. I want to win at everything. I'm a passionate guy, and that's just something I'm born with. And it's the same with an agency. I was killing myself going, I'm going to crush everyone. I'm going to be the next big agency, busting my balls to do it. And then becomes a point where your health starts to get affected. So lack of sleep, stress. And obviously I was part of that, the biggest part of that problem, whereas I wouldn't delegate out as well. I was a control freak. But it was all new to me. And as I said to you, I went to hypnotherapists to try and relax, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And it caught up with me. And, I'm not ashamed to say it. I wasn't that guy that was going to throw myself off a bridge or anything like that. But, I started to then have
Sounds like it was tough, though. It sounds like it was a tough period for you, man.
It is. But if you let yourself, get into that position, I was just basically starting out, and then I was just pushed further back, my back against the wall, and I had all, everywhere I turned, there was just staff problems, money problems, delegation problems, process problems, clients being bastards.
Was there time for a person? I mean, I know that you've got a little one now, and that you're a happy camper. What was the status quo then with your personal life, or was there Deepak? There was no personal life.
I mean, there probably wasn't as such. I mean, I'm lucky my wife actually stayed with me, but she used to be like, Craig, you're working.
So you two were together then? You were together? Yeah.
And listen, she said to me, you know, at various periods throughout that, you need to watch. And even when I was going on holiday and stuff, Deepak, I was working on holiday. I would do like 3 or 4 hours in the morning and get up at 7 a.m., try and do everything, try and catch a bit of sunshine. And then, when it got to 4 or 5 in the afternoon, I'd sit with a beer and try and do some more. So I wasn't even getting a holiday. And I think that's where... And listen, I'm a fighter. I wanted to fight for having an agency, and we all do it. You know, but me personally, I started to then crumble with the anxiety after a few years of putting myself through hell. And there was no time for exercise. There was no time for a real life. I couldn't switch off. I couldn't do certain things. But I was advised by the people that I was going to see, like, They said, take emails off of your phone, Craig. Don't do this, don't do that. Work 9 to 5. Then when you go home, don't have your laptop open. Sit and play your PlayStation or go.
This is amazing advice. So
it's because what happened was I was getting emails from people, and it would be like 11 o'clock at night. And what would happen is someone would send me quite a rude email like, why is your fucking rankings dropping? If they don't pick up, we're going to kick you into touch. And that's 11 at night, and I'm jumping up and I'm going, oh, you bastards. And I'm saying, fucking, look at this, look at that. I've done this for you. I've done that for you. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm up at 11 at night in a rage sending that email back. If I didn't have emails in my phone, I wouldn't see that, and I could deal with it between 9 and 5 in the morning, during business hours. So there's a lot to be said for the kind of small tips that then helped me get back on track.
Would you recommend that some of these tips now? I mean, I almost feel like we should ask you, what are your based upon your experiences of running an agency, what would you say are your top 5 tips for reducing stress and anxiety? Maybe it doesn't even relate to agency, just in general in business, I think. Yeah.
One thing that really worked well for me was I got an app in my phone called Wunderlist, which allows you to have a to-do list on your phone. So my hypnotherapist person said to me, when you get something in your head at night, Craig, she said, get a pen and a bit of paper and write it down, and then it goes out your brain and you go to sleep. Yeah. I've got Wunderlist on my phone, so I
love it. I've got it as well.
So I've got that. So if it's like, chase up Deepak for, a podcast or whatever, then I'll put that in there and then I can forget about it. Whereas if you don't, you're sitting in your bed and shit's going through your head. You can't sleep and everything else. So that Wunderlist or
number one, similar. Wunderlist. Yeah, brilliant.
2, try and stick to a normal working hour routine. I think the work-life balance, I know a lot of people say it and people say, oh, that's bullshit and stuff like that. Being able to switch off from work is vital for your mental health. I know you do have 4 crazy shifts and whatever.
Well, I'm done. I mean, I agree though. I mean, I'm by 5 o'clock, my brain is fried, and I'm like, I just need to chill the hell out until like 9:30 when I go to bed. So it's like 4 hours where I'm just like, I'll hang out. Please continue. I mean, because I don't want to. I don't want people to look me up and think that Deepak completely does the opposite. Like I start early, but then I'm like mentally done by about 5.
The starting point is not a problem. If you feel that you're more productive at that time, great. But I think there always has to be a period where you go out for a drink with Ross Tavendale, or you play your PlayStation, or go out a jog, or all that. I mean, I think you have quite a fairly healthy lifestyle anyway, in terms of I know you're proactive with your fitness and stuff, and I think that's vital to do that. So make sure that you're not working like a dog 24/7, because it will catch up. Other things, it would be delegation. Do not be that control freak. You have to delegate to people. You have to lean on other people. No successful business is run by one man. That one man.
Do you think you're better at it now? Do you think you're better at delegating than you used to be? Because I know that you said you're a perfectionist. How do you feel you are now?
100%. Listen, when you delegate, no one's ever going to do the job the exact way I want it done. I thought I could pick holes in anything. But realistically, I do have a team, and I've got, a business partner there who deals with all the reporting, the invoicing, and all the shit that I hate. And what the model that I had when I was suffering from all these problems, and the model I've got now is night and day. 95% of the stuff that I hate doing is done by another person now, and that includes invoicing, all the kind of reporting stuff, and content writing and everything else. All of that kind of garbage is done by someone else, and I feel a lot better for it, and I've got a lot more time, and I can be a lot more relaxed.
It sounds like you're in a lot better place now, I think, in comparison to before, and I guess I just wonder I recall the point, that the other point that you said that was really interesting. Do you still have emails uninstalled from your phone? I've never heard that before. Is that,
I don't have an email on my phone. So
would you recommend that then? Also,
100%, because what you have to do is identify what triggers you. What was infuriating me was getting an email, or not infuriating me, by the way. There were some emails that used to pop through at 11 at night, and I would just jump on and do it because, you know, it prompted something in my head. So, you know, this guy emails and I'm going, fuck, I jump on the laptop and I'll do it right now so that I don't have to do it tomorrow. So
this is amazing.
I mean, you've probably done it yourself. Like, someone
I'll still do it. I'll still do it. Like you don't expect to get it, but you check because of habit. And then a client, you know, the last 30 days is, you know, it's been hell for me because I'm getting cancellations and I've got a lot of non-UK clients. So I get someone saying, Deepak, I get it on like a fucking Saturday, and it ruined a good 4 hours of my Saturday because like that's client number fucking 5. And so you, I mean, I feel like I'm getting therapy now, guys, just full disclosure. So so number 1 was Wunderlist, or basically an ability to take out what's in your head and put it away and outside of your head. And practically speaking, with something like that, is it that Deepak, I still do that now at like 10 p.m. I have an idea because I have ideas and I write it down and then I kind of forget about it. Is that a process that you followed when you were like feeling stressed, or and that you stick to, or is it kind of comes in, comes out?
No, everything that I've implemented in terms of being able to de-stress, I still do to this day.
Wow.
Because they're there for a reason. But also, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I was at a SEMrush event last year in Portugal, and they always bring value because basically we all go to this thing and the SEMrush want our feedback and developing the tool and everything. But as part of a kind of gift from SEMrush, they always bring like a top guy, a top speaker, or whatever it's going to be to educate us.
Yeah.
This guy called Dave Allen, and this guy is all about. Is
that the getting things done guy?
Yeah, the getting things done guy. So they brought him, and he done a talk, and it was pretty much the same kind of stuff. Like as a human being, your brain can only really hold 4 or 5 ideas before you start to get stressed. So Dave Allen's thing is getting things done. He does it in a relaxed manner where your brain can only hold 4 or 5 things, and then, you know, if another 4 or 5 things come, you forgot about the initial 4 or 5 things. So that's where he talks about apps and, you know, processes and different things to help you avoid that mental stress, because as humans, we are thick as shit. You know, 4 things, you know, go to the shop for milk, you know, do the washing, phone my girlfriend, and clean the car. You know, after that, if you start asking me for other things, something's going to get forgotten about. And Dave Allen's book, I've also got that. Dave Allen gave us a signed copy of his book and everything else, but he came, and a lot of the guys, and Ross Tavendale was one of them, but loads of the guys out there, experienced businessmen, were all jotting things down like, I'm going to implement this, I'm going to implement that, and I'm going to do this, that, the next thing. And Dave Allen, you know, he's not doing anything you know, groundbreaking in terms of, you know, there's a special trick to it. It's all very simple processes that just, you know, and it makes sense when he says it, that a human can't remember more than 4 or 5 things because your brain's cluttered at that point. He's talking about, you know, decluttering your brain by using the technology that's out there. So again, you know, smart guys like Dave. Obviously, I dealt with this before I had met Dave. You know,
I think your advice is telling. I think that, you know, I mean, I want to give full credit to that. For me, is one of the interesting things. I mean, it sounds like, to be honest with you, Craig, some really amazing things came out of that whole kind of therapeutic process that are going to live with you forever. I almost feel like, I mean, are you thankful for that whole process because of what you know now about managing just life?
Yeah, I think, you know, everything comes down to experience. You know, I was a young guy, you know, faced with trying to run a business, and I had no education in terms of running a business, never really gave it any kind of research or thought. I just found myself as an SEO with staff in an office, and, you know, I'm going to be a control freak. I want to be in control, you know, and I certainly wouldn't, that's just in my nature, but I think certainly things happen for a reason, and it's part of the overall learning curve that I've had. You know, and of course mistakes happened from it, and, you know, things happen that are not necessarily nice to have. But yeah, it makes you a better and a stronger person, and going forward. And as I say, I can implement things now to try and have a much stress-free.
Well, what I love about the advice you're giving is that there's these practical things that you've attached to it. So Wunderlist has been huge for you. You still to this day, correct me if I'm wrong, don't have email installed on your phone.
Yep.
So then practically, does that mean to check your email, you have to, of course, go to a laptop and log in and check it. Is that correct? Right? Just clarity. And then, is it still correct that you do a lot of business via email?
Of course, yeah, I do a lot of business via email.
It sounds like a stupid question, but it's just because I know that there's that process it involves where you have to sit down now and be at your laptop. And then, do you then not check? Has that stopped you checking email outside of work hours, or is it the case that it just massively reduced it, Deepak? And like talk us through that experience, because I don't think I know of a person. Do you know of anyone else who doesn't have email installed on their phone? Maybe you do know a few.
No, I don't really know, because anyone I say it to, they look at me as if I'm a weirdo.
You are a weirdo, but you're a fucking genius as well. So I wanna just unpack this, because I'm positive a lot of your. Have you ever shared that on any of your podcasts?
No, never shared that before.
I want to do a whole thing on it, but this is because it's weird in a really, really interesting way, because I can see immediately how that would declutter your. Like, what was the effect, first of all, of removing it from your phone?
I mean, it got me into working harder 9 to 5, because obviously when I wake up at 9 in the morning, or whenever. The first thing I've got to do is go through, clean my email inbox, and then action. If someone's asked a question, or whatever it may be, I've then got to spend the first hour or two, doing my work. But I know I'm finishing at 5 o'clock, so it makes me more productive, because I know I've only got that short period of time. Whereas prior to that, I wasn't giving a shit. I'd be like, I'll get that email later on when I'm eating my dinner. I would eat my dinner and still be doing emails and stuff. So, it kind of focused me more. If you
no, it makes sense. It makes sense. Do you think that it lost you money or made you money, or the same? Be honest.
I mean, the output's still the same. I was still replying to people. I'll tell you a story, actually. One day, I was really stressed out, and someone sent me an email on a Sunday night at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I wrote a message back saying, don't fucking dare. It was quite a rude email. Don't fucking dare message me on a Sunday night asking for this, and this. And the person went, Craig, calm down. I was only sending it on Sunday night in the hope that you would action it like on Monday morning or Tuesday morning or whatever. And that triggered to me saying, Craig, you are reading way too much into this. Someone else might want to send emails on a Sunday night. But I just took it as if they were expecting me to work on a Sunday night.
Because that's the way I think a lot of us are, right? Because we live in this world where it's instant messaging. If you read receipts are everywhere now, right? There's no platform where there isn't a read receipt. And the idea always is that I've sent a message to Craig. Craig has read it. If Craig has not read it, and I see that Craig is responding to other people, or his Facebook is active, is the bastard then just ignoring my messages on purpose, or is he turned it off? Like, people have all of this psychology that goes on, right? It's a weird thing, and I think that for a lot of people, work has become, and I include myself in this, right? Because I wake up at 4:30, but my challenge is that I will still check my email because of the fucking habit, and then it sidetracks me because I'll get the wrong email at the wrong time, and is it the case then that you at the weekend don't check email, or are you quite disciplined then after 6 p.m. after whatever it is?
Yep, I'm very disciplined. I have no interest at all in opening up that laptop, and I've told people that as well. The business hours are, anyone that I talk to or deal with or whatever. Business hours are Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And I don't give a toss. Listen, sometimes I'm bored on a Sunday and I'll look through and I'll clean my email box up. However, I think in the last email I said to you, I've got a tool called Follow Up CC. That allows me to schedule emails. So if I'm sitting on a Sunday bored and I want to reply to someone, I can make that message send at like 2 o'clock on Monday afternoon. And I'm quite into doing that, because if you start emailing people on a Sunday, they start to expect it. So I think, you know, cleverly using technology and automation in some way, you know, it just gives that client in their mind, you know, that this guy doesn't reply on a Sunday and that's it.
It's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant, and I wanted to focus upon this because I think that there's a lot of people that would be like shocked about that in quite a positive way, to be honest with you, because it sounds like it hasn't impacted your business in a negative way. I mean, it sounds like, you know what, not at all. Okay, brilliant. So we've got Wunderlist, we've got the delegation, we've got the email. Is there anything else that you think that's been instrumental?
Yeah, one other thing, you know, I do a lot of training courses and I'm friends with a lot of people on Facebook. And what I used to do was get people asking me business questions on Facebook through, you know, private message. Now, I don't mind if you message me saying, Craig, do you want to do a podcast? I don't mind that at all. But what I was doing was getting an influx of people, Craig, I've done your course. Can you answer this? And I'm like, dude, this is my personal Facebook. Like, don't come to me on a Saturday and expect me to do it. There is a process for this. You put in a support ticket, and that's it. And I'll reply to that when I'm ready to reply to it, or one of my team will reply to it. So I try and make sure that anyone I deal with doesn't talk to me about business and stuff on Facebook as well. I want to have one line of communication. I've got loads of guys that want to talk to me in WhatsApp, Skype, and all that kind of stuff. And there isn't. I close down as many of those portals as I can. Now I've got Skype, I've got WhatsApp, and I joke with you in WhatsApp and stuff like that. That's more of a personal thing than a business thing. But in terms of, you know, people I train or people who want to do business with me or whatever it may be, there has to be 1 or 2 points of communication. And by all means, I can jump on a Skype call with someone. By all means, I'll reply to an email when you know the time is appropriate. But I don't have everyone messaging me from multiple sources, because again, I think that can get you down. If people are WhatsApping you, you know, Facebooking you, text messaging you, Skyping you, and everything else, I think your job's just a joke if you've got that many lines of communication with a client or whatever it may be. Because you know yourself, you must have had it. Someone doesn't get you in WhatsApp, so they'll come after you on Skype or Facebook, or, you know, emails. Everything starts going, fuck that. That's too much.
And how do you manage a process where because you have all of those channels and obviously people connect with you? Do you have a black and white process that you follow, or is it case by case, or is it DPAT for 90% of the time? I just politely say, sounds great, send it on email. Sounds great, send it on email. Sounds great.
Just do that. Send it an email, and I've got not many people have my mobile phone number. I make sure that everyone comes through the office phone, and 9 times out of 10, it's my wife that answers the office phone anyway. But 9 times out of 10, she can delegate that to someone in the team. So if someone wants to talk about, you know, what's involved in your training courses, Craig, then it will go to the relevant guy. It doesn't come to me. So 90% of all the shit that I get anyway through all of these kind of channels could be delegated to someone else. So again, I make sure that they come through the office phone. Try and keep my personal mobile number, you know, to as few people as I possibly can.
Is your team remote, or are you all together? Because with your team, is the communication a bit different? Do these guys have your like WhatsApp and Facebooks?
I mean, we have an office, and there's 7 of us in that office. And you know, that's it. You know, if someone phones and they talk to my business partner, then he's sitting, you know, right next to you. So I can say to him, like, what the fuck went on there? So I think that's important. I have got, you know, remote workers, content writers and whatnot as well. And I communicate with them, you know, through probably 1 or 2 different channels. That it depends on the person. Some people prefer Skype.
You make a distinction, of course, from people that aren't qualified, because people within your network that work with you or for you, or you've got a friendly relationship like you and I have. Then I see what you mean. I think that I'm learning some stuff here. I think I'm going to delete my email from my phone. I'm going to try it for today until Friday. After we get off this call, I'm going to just delete my email and see what happens. And
check emails once every 3-4 hours. What's the need for you to sit there and get distracted, by something that pops in? Say you're writing a blog post and you're enthusiastic about it, and some email pops up with some guy saying, "Where's my report, Deepak?" or "I'm cancelling." You get pissed off. That blog doesn't get done, and that's it. It's a distraction.
Do you have any other apps that you've deleted from your phone as well?
Nah, just the email one. I've still got Facebook and all the usual crap on there, TikTok and all that shit. I probably could be doing with deleting some more, but the email was the main
key
actually for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think that's absolutely brilliant. I think that's absolutely brilliant. All right, so we're moving into the final 5 minutes of the show. I want to ask you what I'm going to ask you a final round of questions. Some of the things I've got in mind. Craig? Are you still getting tattoos, or are you not getting any more tattoos?
No, I'm still getting tattoos. Not sure what though. I kind of ran out. I've got both arms done right up to the top. I've got all of my right leg done. So I'm probably going to go for something across the chest or on the back. Next.
Okay. Are you scared of getting tattoos when you get them? I'm scared to get it. I find tattoos still painful.
Yeah, they are painful as fuck. I'm not going to lie. But I use numbing cream, so which eliminates a lot of the pain. But I love tattoos. I love the look of them. And I can see obviously you've got them in some sore ass places as well.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I'm a big woman. I scream like a bitch. When I'm getting tattoos, and my tattoo lady absolutely hates it when I come in. She's just like, "Oh no,
we got the screamer."
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Okay, so the next question that I've got is, have you ever considered? So, are you born and raised in Glasgow? I actually never asked.
Yep.
Did you ever at any stage consider moving to a different city for work or otherwise? Was that ever on your agenda, ever, if at all?
No. I'd like to move to Portugal. That's one of my favourite places in the world. But the wife comes with a big family, and the mother-in-law stays 5 doors down from me. Yeah. So, it's got as good it's more good points than bad points. So I'm quite happy staying here, even though the weather's absolutely.
Okay. Tell me about a personal habit that you're trying to form at the moment. Like, what is Craig trying to work on? And I'll ask the same question professionally, but what's kind of a personal habit that you're currently working on that you're trying to build?
Trying to eat better and get some more consistency going to the gym. I'm the type of guy who goes to the gym for 3 weeks and then stops for 3 months, which is why I'm always probably going to be a fat bastard. But I need to try and get more consistency with that, because my father had a triple heart bypass recently, and just when you get, he's 65, and when you hear that, you start to think you have to.
65 is quite young, really, isn't it, these days? Yeah.
You have to look after your health, and it's something no money can buy, is your health. So I think it's something I need to be a bit more conscious of.
Okay. With that. No, well said. And what about professionally then? Is there something you're working on right now that you can share that the audience might not know, that's interesting, that you're legally allowed to share?
Legally allowed to share. I'm currently writing a book, which is going to be out in August, I think. So yeah, I got a company approached me and wanted me to write a book on SEO. And they are a publishing company, and they wanted to utilize, my knowledge and their writing abilities, because obviously I don't know if I could write a book in my own without a professional publisher in some kind of structure. I'm doing that, and it'll be my first experience of a book, and I'm more doing it again not for money. I just want the experience. I've been able to say, I've done a book and it was a pain in the ass, or it was good, or whatever. So we'll see what happens. New experience.
And the final question then is, if in 10 years from now, if in 10 years from now, when people would be like talking about the Craig Campbell brand, or who is Craig Campbell? How do you envision them seeing that? What is it that you think would you'd like to be said in a pub? They'd be like, "Oh, have you checked out that Craig Campbell guy?" And they'd be like, "Oh, who's he?" How do you think that conversation would end?
I just hope that people would think I was quite a helpful, normal guy. I think it's always nice to be liked by people.
How would it change from now? Because I think that people probably already say that.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that.
You're like, Deepak, you don't know me well enough yet.
People say I'm like Marmite. Some people absolutely hate my guts, and others, appreciate, maybe the angle I'm coming from. And as I say, I think everyone wants to be liked, and I think if more people than not said, "Good guy," helpful, and was honest and genuine, and wore his heart on the sleeve, then I'd be a happy man.
Do you think that you'll change some of the criticisms that people make about you in order to get there?
I'm not going to change as a person. I think, as time has went on, I think we spoke about it in the last webinar. People have maybe looked at me and thought, this guy's a maniac, with the tattoos or whatever.
Yeah.
The more they get to know me, they're like, you're actually not what I thought. And I get that quite a lot. People are like, you're not
exactly what I thought.
And as I say, hopefully people's perceptions do change as time progresses, because I'd like to think that I'm a reasonably nice guy and all that stuff. So yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Listen, I think that is a great answer, and I am looking forward to seeing in 10 years, mate. Just make sure you do all of the fitness stuff, so we're both still here. But Craig, thank you so much for your time, mate. I had a lot of fun talking to you, and I will catch you on the other side, my friend.
Good man. Thank you.